In this lesson, you'll see how easily you can extract any data you want from a database using LINQ. To begin, open the Spark sample file from your Sample Files folder. And open the code behind file of reports.aspx. You may need to switch back to the Solution Explorer by clicking its tab below the Database Explorer. Now you're going to create an instance of your LINQ data class. Add the following code to the page load event handler. Using Spark data context data equals new Spark data context. The LINQ data class always appends data context to the name of the DBML file. You provided the name spark.dbml, so the class is called Spark data context. You've just created an instance of the class called data. LINQ data classes can take up a lot of memory, so you should always be sure to dispose of them when you are finished working with them. In this lesson, you've enclosed the creation of the data object in a using statement. This is the ideal way to make sure that the object is disposed of after the end of the using statement. You could also have done this explicitly by using the dispose method. But the using statement is better practice as it eliminates the possibility of forgetting to dispose of the object. You learned about the dispose method and the using statement in lesson 6.10. Now you're going to use your data class to retrieve a customer record from the database. When you added the customer table to the LINQ classes in the previous lesson, a customer class was automatically created. The customer class is used to represent records in the customer table. Add the following code inside the using statement. Customer myCustomer equals data.customers.first. This code gets the first row from the customers table and places it in an object called myCustomer, which is an instance of the customer class. Now on the next line, type myCustomer dot. The IntelliSense menu appears for the myCustomer object. As you can see, it has customer ID and customer name properties. The customer ID property is an int, and the customer name property is a string. You already know how to work with these types. You'll also notice the invoices property. Using the invoices property, you can get all of the invoices that belong to the customer stored in the myCustomer object. Delete the myCustomer.text that you just added, and you're going to add some code to display the customer name on the page. Add the following code. Label report.text equals myCustomer.customerName. The customer name property is a string, so you can display it in the label control on the page. View reports.aspx in your browser now, and you can see that Bottom Dollar Markets has appeared on the page. Bottom Dollar Markets is the first record in the customer table. Close your web browser now. Finally, you're going to add some LINQ code to extract a specific customer from the database. Change the customer myCustomer line to customer myCustomer equals data.customers.single begin brackets customer equals greater than customer.customerID equals 5. This code will search the customer table for a customer record with a customer ID of 5 and return the record as an instance of the customer class. The code inside the single method looks a little strange. It's what's called a lambda expression. All you need to understand about a lambda expression is that the part before the equals greater than, or lambda, is an alias that is used to represent the database table. In this example, you've used customer as an alias to avoid confusion, but it is possible to use any combination of letters as an alias. There are actually two ways to use LINQ. You can use the lambda expressions, as you've just seen, or you can use a query syntax that looks more like SQL code. Unless you're familiar with SQL, the lambda syntax is easier to understand. So all examples in this course use the lambda syntax. Here's what this lesson's code would look like using the query approach. View the page in your browser now, and this time Layman's Marktstand appears. If you compared this with the data in the customer table by using the Database Explorer, you'd see that Layman's Marktstand has a customer ID of 5. Close your web browser now. Before LINQ, databases were usually accessed using the system.data.sql client namespace of the .NET framework. System.data.sql client is still available, but it requires a lot more code to use. This method also requires you to either use stored procedures or SQL code. LINQ has made the system.data.sql client classes obsolete, but you may still see them being used in older projects. Close Visual Studio now, and you've now completed Lesson 10.3. Retrieve a single row of data using LINQ.